Welcome to 6-1, Ratio and Rates. Our objective today is to write ratios as fractions in simplest form, and our second is to determine unit rates. So let's look at some key terms. We have three of them. Ratio. Ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division. You can see the three ways that you may have encountered ratios with 2 to 4. And then the second one is still read as 2 to 4, and then we have our division, or the one that we're focusing on in our objective is to write the ratio as a fraction. Rate. Rate is a ratio of two measurements having different kinds of units. So we could have something like miles and hours, and in this case we have 60 miles in 3 hours. Or we can have dollars and pounds, where we can have $16 for 2 pounds. When dealing with rates, we are going to introduce unit rate. When a rate is simplified so that it has a denominator of 1. An example of a unit rate is $5 per pound, which means $5 over 1 pound. On this slide, we have expressed the ratio 9 goldfish out of 15 fish as a fraction in simplest form. You can see that I wrote it as 9 over 15. The second part is to write in simplest form, so we're going to go back to previous lesson and think of a GCF of what does 9 and 15. The GCF is 3. And from another previous lesson, we're going to say that we're going to take division, divide the numerator and the denominator, the top and the bottom, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and that is our fraction in simplest form. We could write it this way, as we saw in our definition, or we could write it this way. But since the objective says fractions, then that's what we're going to stay with. Alright, we have on this slide expressed the ratio 3 feet to 16 inches as a fraction in simplest form. Alright, we might think we are done right now. We have 3 over 16, or 3 feet over 16 inches, but we have to consider its simplest form, and it's real difficult to simplify this when we have different types of units. So we have to remember that in 1 foot, it's equal to 12 inches. So we're going to use that to change feet into inches. So you can see 3 times 12, we have 3 feet. We're going to times it by 12 inches. That gives us 36. Now I'm going to rewrite that as 36 over 16. Now that I have both units the same, I'm going to look at the GCF. Is there a GCF for 36 and 6? And well, yes it is. It's 4. So divide the numerator and the denominator by 4. I get 9 over 4 as our answer. Alright, so let's see what we have on this slide. We have a package of 20 recordable CDs cost $18, and a package of 30 recordable CDs cost $28. Which package has the lower cost per unit? Well, to do this, we have to know what the cost of, in each situation, what one CD would cost, or, as we learned, unit rate. So you can see I wrote both situations out, where I have $18 for 20 CDs, $28 for 30 CDs. And able to compare them, I need to have the same denominator, in this case a denominator of 1. So how do I get 18 over 20 with a denominator of 1? Well, I just go ahead and divide my denominator by 20, and that'll give me 1. And whatever I do on top, I do on the bottom. And I get 0.9 over 1. Using that same logic, how do I get the denominator for 30 to 1? I divide it by 30, or itself. That'll give me 1. Whatever I do on the bottom, I do on the top. And with a little bit of rounding, I get 0.93. Right, now we're able to compare them, but let's write them as we would do in a shopping situation are in a real life situation. This would be 90 cents per CD, and this would be 93 cents per CD. So let's compare the two. It looks like 28 CDs cost the least.